Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Okay. All right. This is 3:15 Central Standard Time over here. We got to pick up the kids at 3:40 Central Standard Time. So
yeah.
We're just gonna try to see what we can get done here.
So go ahead, everybody. Grab your seats.
Grab your sword.
And join the...
All right, so, babe, you want to tell us what we're doing today?
I think we are here to extend our conversation on Romans 12. We stuck with Romans 12, basically just verse 2 and 3 last time. No, really just 2, honestly. Low-key, verse 2. But now we're going to just kind of keep talking about Romans 12 because it's so good.
Low-key, what the young people say. We were saying that in college before Gen Z ever made that cool.
Yeah.
So, just putting that out there.
Yeah, you made me a lot cooler.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so, just kidding. You made me cool too, babe.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to read Romans 12, 2b, and then we're going to really get down and talk about all the other stuff that we had for you. So it says, I'm just going to read all of verse 2. So we talked about, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. So we spent a lot of time talking about that last episode. But then the last part then says, then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. How many of y'all want to know what God's will is for your life? Yeah, so we've been on this quest trying to figure out what God's will is for our lives. Been asking and praying, and let your will be done, and let your will be done. But beyond that, I think another thing that I've also really been trying to figure out is like, what are my gifts? What has God called me into? Who am I? How am I uniquely made? And so today, we're going to spend time trying to piece together what God's will is for our lives, good and pleasing, by really trying to understand some, not all, but some of the gifts that Paul outlines in Romans 12, starting in verse 6. So do you want to read that piece, and then we'll kind of see how we can tie the two things together?
Should I read it in a British accent?
If that's how you're feeling.
In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So, if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. I really committed to that British accent. I actually kind of...
She said encouraging.
Okay, verse 9. Don't just pretend to love others, really love them. Hate what is wrong and hold tightly to what is good. I feel like other translations say cling to what is good. I like that word.
They never say cling.
Cling to what. So, Stephen, may I ask you, what, if any, no, it's not if any, because the Lord is, if you have been baptized in the Holy Spirit and you walk in freedom, you have a spiritual gift.
That's right.
What do you feel like your spiritual gift is?
Where do I start with the spiritual gifts? All right, since we're doing shout outs, shout out to Christian Hammonds. Christian Hammonds, Michelle, Wally, Io, Adam, y'all know who you are. And I love you guys. But we spent a lot of time in college talking spiritual gifts, what our gifts are, how do we know those are our gifts, how do we operate in those gifts, what do those gifts mean? And we spent a lot of time talking about that. I mean, if podcasts were cool back then, we probably would have had a podcast, the amount of conversations we had. So I remember thinking so much, and I think I used to get so stuck in the spiritual gifts when it came to specifically like the actual fivefold ministry. Are you aware?
But tell the people.
Okay, so fivefold ministry, the apostle, the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist, and then the prophet. So I used to be like, well, everybody has one of these fivefold, and which one are me? Or which one am I? Which one are me?
Which one are me?
So I remember spending so much time like, well, I think I got a little bit of apostle in me. And I remember apostle was like the one that was like, figured to be higher ranking than the rest. So if somebody said they were apostles, like, I'm a leader and I prophesy and I do a little bit of evangelizing on the side. I remember that being like the big one. But ultimately, I got away from that. And then now, looking at these gifts, I believe that anyone and everyone has the ability to flow within any of these gifts at any given time. I do think there is a natural disposition for people based off of how God created them for one gift or another. And I don't think, again, learning what I know now, I don't think that there's one gift that's better or higher calling than another gift. Even if in some circles or even in just some places that can be like construed in that way. So my long answer is, I would say that the Lord has given me the ability to lead. So it says, if God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And I don't think I took it seriously for a very long time. I actually shied away from leadership for a lot of reasons because I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think I was good enough. I was very, very apprehensive, shy, scared. But those are all just like lies from the enemy trying to not let me take this gift of leadership seriously like Romans calls us to do. So
I want to just speak into that. I agree. You're an incredible leader, both of our household, at your job, on your teams as basketball where we met back in the day. I've just seen that skill, but I've seen it evolve for the glory of God, right? And that's wonderful. I think that I also see you operate in the gift of generosity. That's something you've helped me immensely in, like living very much like a scarcity mindset, which is ironic because that's not how I grew up. Like I didn't grow up lacking for things, but I very much am like, oh, I gotta take as much. Oh, they're giving that away. It's free. I should have it. And you've helped me to just like relinquish. And it's so, I mean, the scriptures tell us that it's better to give than to receive. And you've helped me a lot in that. And I am really grateful for your gift of generosity as well, which is a gift I think that you flow in naturally.
Thanks, babe. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right.
You're welcome.
Enough about me. Tell me about you.
Okay. Let's see. My gift. I think, well, I am a teacher by trade. That's my profession. I do think that I have an ability to explain things well, but I don't know that it's necessarily in a biblical context. I don't know. This is hard for me. I didn't have the Christian Hammonds of the world where I sat and we talked about what spiritual gifts. I did go to a Bible study once where we all had to call out a spiritual gift in someone else. So notice I was able to call one out in you right away.
Oh yeah, Alberto Lopez too.
Shout out.
Pastor over there at the Springs Church.
Hey.
I'll come see y'all some of these days. All right, I'll fill the air while my wife's looking and reading, so...
Maybe showing kindness.
Okay, double down. Tell me why. Why do you think that?
Well, I think the Lord has given me a unique ability to see different perspectives. And this is as of late. Like, I can really imagine being in someone else's shoes. And I have a lot of compassion for those places. And I lately have tried to be about that action. Like if I can be of service or I can help in some kind of way or show kindness or speak life, then I will.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that. I think there's a couple that you're missing here. So right here, it says if your gift is serving others, serve them well. You serve. You have the heart of a servant. You serve us in this household. You serve at our church. You serve your friends well. Jill's got this face. Tell me everything that's wrong with you, and let me see how I can help you face. It's not even that she has this natural disposition where people want to just tell her about what's going on. And then it's not like Jill just hears those things and she's like, I'll be praying for you. Thank you for sharing that. But she's actually going to be like, well, okay, what are we going to do about that? And I think that's where the serving comes into the actual, like, being able to be there, encouraging people, being generous, all those things that are in here. So she's been amazing. Jill talks, she's saying the thing about generosity, but she'll just be randomly at church. Someone just said something about, hey, I don't have shoes. And Jill's like, hey, babe, we need to send some money so we can buy this person some shoes. That kind of, that's where she's at. I don't have that gifting. No one tells me when they don't need shoes. I'm still trying to get my face to be not so. So
You gotta get rid of the RBF.
I gotta work on that. I gotta. Hi, hey. 6'4" and 240 pounds. By God's grace, I'm working my way down. But I don't have that. And so she shows kindness. She shows kindness. She has the ability to serve people. She has the ability to teach. She has the ability to encourage in a unique way. So.
Wow.
Yeah, you out here. You just got them gifts, girl.
Thank you.
You didn't even know that.
I'll have you know that sometimes I'll ask Steven randomly, like, do you love me? And he'll say, yeah. And I'll be like, why? And he'll just be like, cause you're hot. Or like some random, like.
That's how I sound.
Cause you're hot.
Cause you're hot.
And so that was really sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. If this camera wasn't on, I would give you a pat. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Anywho, the spiritual gifts, that's something worth digging deeper and really unpacking and thinking through. I also think spiritual gifts, I don't think we have natural propensity and tendencies towards something, but I also think just kind of like the 5 love languages, Gary Chapman's book, I think it also changes with your season of life and like what you've experienced. I think right now, since we just moved to a new state where we don't know anyone, we don't really have that many friends, like that was super gross. It's natural for me to want to like help other people because I know how much it would mean to me right now for someone to see that need and meet it in this season. So hopefully by God's grace, that will be something that sticks around. Okay, so what do you think about verse 12 when Paul goes on to say, so he talks about don't just pretend to love others. I think this is a huge thing we could take away in the Western church, right? Bless your heart. We are the queens and kings of bless your little heart and the I'll pray for you, but really I'm just going to go tell my prayer group about your problems and pretend like it isn't gossip. Like we have this ickiness that has like seeped into the church place where we're pretending at times. And all of this, I think it's worth noting, is rooted back up in what we spent our episode 2 on, is not copying the behaviors of this world, but letting God transform you into a new person. It is impossible because of our fallen nature for me to will myself into being a loving person. It is impossible for me to will myself into actually loving someone authentically and genuinely. I know you're not a big Friends fan. You've never really watched
like that, like
the show.
Oh, I was gonna say I got friends.
Sorry. There's this episode in Friends where Phoebe, she's funny. She challenges the group and says there's really no such thing as a good deed because no matter what, you're going to feel better about it or you're going to get something out of the good deed. And so the whole episode is challenging you to try to find something that's a good deed. And I think there's some truth to it apart from the Holy Spirit, right? Because there's always this ulterior motive because that is what sin has done to our souls, to our inside, it's just corrupted our motive. And that's what the Holy Spirit is here to restore and renew. And it's a process, and we won't get there this side of heaven. But we can begin the edification towards those things.
I agree. Well and eloquently put.
Thank you.
So never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically.
Ooh.
That's self-explanatory. I need that one for me. Yeah.
Never be lazy. When I hear lazy, I'm thinking comfort. I'm thinking.
Dang, okay. You went there.
I'm thinking lazy in the traditional sense of I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna sit and do nothing, but that's what comfort is, right? I think Christians, especially, we're talking about the Western church, let's talk about the Western church, which is you and I also, by the way. We fall right into this camp.
Forget about the Western church. Let's bring this one home. This is us.
You and I, Stephen and Jill, we want a life of comfort. I want a nice house. I want my kids to do well in school. I never want to be worried about money. I want to go to a good church. I want to serve on Sundays, maybe go on a mission trip every now and then. And, I'm going to pray. I'm going to be in a good small group. These are the things.
Good jobs, good money.
Pat on the back. Wow, such a good person, Stephen. You're so good. And I think that can even fall under the umbrella of lazy and more so in the sense of comfortable. There's not any calls in the Bible where God like interrupts someone's life. He doesn't go to Moses and like present him with an easy call, a comfortable call, right? They're always very uncomfortable and take a lot of faith and a lot of movement.
Let me ask you this though. Is there any part of you that's like afraid to know what it is that, like to do what it is that God's calling us to do that's uncomfortable?
Yes, 100%. I actually wrote that in my journal this morning. It's like I was like praying, asking God like for something, and I was afraid to write it down because it felt like if I say this, that means this thing could potentially get taken away from me, and that's really scary for me. And so yeah, I literally every day. Sometimes I don't pray prayers because I'm so nervous of what the implication could be to pray that prayer.
I wanna be tried by her. It's a dangerous prayer.
Okay, Chandler Moore is our guest today on this podcast.
You take whatever you
okay,
all right, okay. Lord, here's my life. Okay, so I think that's a big thing that I get so nervous about is this idea of when you like initially I'm working hard, working an honest man's wage, putting in the hours at the office, all those things. But over the last couple of weeks, I've realized that a lot of that stuff's actually idols that I'm building up because it's not a true godly motive for the reasons why I'm doing as much as I'm doing. Although I've turned it into that, but a lot of that is so that I can have a nice house, I can have a good car, good vacations, be able to do some of the good stuff. Like that's my intent for the reasons why I do what I do. But then when you say things like, and you'll say these other, Moses was never comfortable. No one God uses is comfortable. And do we want to be used by God? And I'm like, bruh.
Okay, I mean, okay, yeah, you're right. And I do say things like that.
No, I'm not saying that those things are wrong or bad. I'm just saying.
Job.
Hold on, don't be out here bringing Job into the mix, Lord, please. But when I say those things, I'm saying it to say, I know that for us to grow, we have to go through hard things. You have to go through breaking, right? We need to be broken. And we just kind of came out of a really hard season, first coming to Oklahoma, trying to find our way, lots of different things. And we'll get into that more. But like, that was already a really hard time. And then it's like, okay, is it over? Or does it just keep happening in these seasons? But I do believe that the reasons why I'm like that is because I don't truly trust God. If I wanted to keep it a buck, young people say that, but I was saying that before.
Yeah.
If I wanted to keep it 100, I don't trust God enough. Because if I trusted God, regardless of how hard or broken the season is, I can look to him through the midst of all of that stuff. So I say that to say there's still a lot of work on the inside of me that needs to happen. And that's the edification that is going to continue to happen. I say I'm scared, but my heart and my mind are really shifting towards that place where I can actually say, okay, God, I will do whatever it is. You want me to go ahead and sell everything in my 4K today and give all the money to the poor? I will do that. Am I there yet? No. But eventually, that's where I want to be, right? Because right now, I'll tell you, my 401k is probably an idol. I check it twice, 3 times, 4 times a day, depending on how the market's doing, right? Like, so what are these? How do we take that mode or that thing, that the fear of like not being comfortable? How have you been able to address or look into that over the last few weeks?
Something that sparked my memory that when you were talking about that is a message from our church when we're talking about Jonah, and he talks about God storms, like, because sometimes when you're facing hard things in your life, you're like, is this God? Is like God allowing this? Is God doing this? Or is this the devil? Like, am I experiencing spiritual warfare? Or, that's like something that we ask sometimes. And our pastor Josh, shout out. We're doing good on our shout outs. He said, if it's a God storm, it's for redirection, never devastation. And it's designed to wake us up and draw us back into him. Whereas the enemy, it's the opposite, right? He wants to devastate, to destroy you, to kill you. Like, he wants the worst. And that they're designed to take you out. This was the language that our pastor used. And so I think that what you're saying, when we reflect on the year and how hard it was, but then we reflect on where we're at spiritually, you can see the fruit of those things, right? Like, I am 100% aligned that I am not there, and I'm prayerful and hopeful that I am going to be arriving in this place, or you're never going to arrive. And that's the controller in me. That's really hard for me to grasp, that I'm not going to ever like get there until on this side of heaven. So making those strides towards becoming that person and maintaining that place, because in some ways David responded, this is just all over the board, I understand. David responded better in hardship than he did in royalty, right? His wilderness season, his time in the caves, his heart after God is more evident than it was when he was in the palace. Why is that? Because he had to come to this place where he's seeking God. And Moses, I don't want to go to the promised land unless you will come with me. And that's the place I want to get to, because I don't even think I'm there yet, where I'm like, I want your presence more than anything else. And that's what I need the Lord to do a work.
That last part you said, I need the Lord to do a work on the inside of me. I've been in seasons where I felt that way, and then I've been in seasons where I haven't. I'm working my way towards looking to God in a way where he can really transform my heart and our hearts, sounds like, to be able to really go after him and him alone, regardless of the circumstance or situations that we find ourselves in. Doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean it's normal. It just means that we're fully devoted. And I love what you said. I think there's one thing that we need to do, which is remember. And that's why this podcast exists. More than me telling you about the church or me telling you about what someone else is doing, this podcast exists for us to tell us about each other and where we're at and what we're thinking and how we feel in these moments. So 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, we're going to look back at these moments and be like, wow, God's brought us through a lot. He brought us on the other side. And now I'm looking for opportunities to get broken, because that means that I'm getting closer and closer, drawing closer and closer to Christ. And broken doesn't mean what I think it means.
That's good.
All right,
we got to get our kids. So, yeah, everybody grab. Wait, did we say it at the end too?
You said it last time, but we love you guys.
Put away your seats. Keep reading your sword. Thanks for joining the fam.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Please like and subscribe and enjoy the Nabena Fam. Yeah.